Hi, welcome back to Conversations with Chris and Crystal.
Hi.
Today we thought we'd mix it up a little bit and talk about some other things besides the employment ads. And what happened to me on the way here today
Yes.
is something that happens quite often. We live in Arizona, and a few years ago it wasn't this bad, but now more people are coming here from other states and bringing their bad driving habits with them. So what happened to me was I'm driving along, minding my own business, in this big old truck. I drive a small car. I should just point that out first.
A yellow car. Yeah.
Naturally. So I'm driving along, and this big old white truck comes up and cuts me off and hits those brakes on the freeway. And there were miles of free open space behind me. But somehow, for some reason, he thought it would just be a good idea just to cut me off instead of getting behind me.
And that's the thing out here. I find that in fact it's actually hilarious. You're on the freeway, you're driving along, and there's a guy right up your butt, and he insists on going around you. Zooms around you, gets in front of you, only to get off on that exit. It's like, really, you had to be in front of me to get off on that exit. You couldn't come up behind me and still come to the same exit within a reasonable period of time. And the other thing that I've noticed really excessive right now are left turn people. My brother came to visit a couple weeks ago, and I drove around with him, and he said, "Oh, thank God you drove me around." He's living in Nebraska. This is unheard of there, and so he was glad because it kind of scared him. He couldn't believe what people were doing. But the left turners are getting in that left turn lane and thinking about it, and you're practically on top of them, and they go, "I think I'll go now." And I mean, it's pretty consistent across the board. It's everybody. It's constant. I don't think there's anybody. I literally count the seconds now, to when I get there and they're going to turn right in front of me, and it's very, very dangerous. And of course, we allow U-turns, which is always a good one. If you're turning right and you're waiting, and this left turn guy decides to make this U-turn, of course, takes all the spaces to make his U-turn. You can get hit pretty easily right there, and it is legal here, so we're stuck with it. But that's I don't think we can do that in Minnesota.
It's legal except where it's not. There are some places that say no U-turn,
That's
and
true.
people do it anyway.
Yeah, they do. That's true.
Yeah.
It does say no U-turn, and they do it anyway. I'm trying to think too. Our other thing, of course, is people who don't signal between lanes when they change lanes.
Oh, that's a big
that is
pet peeve.
absolutely hilarious. We count them as we're driving because we get about 5 or 6 in a half-hour stint on the freeway. And it's just amazing to watch. And then if they weave in and out of traffic, they have no signal. And these are like Mercedes, Lexus, Cadillacs. The thought is they obviously don't have signals that work. Pretty sure they don't work on those cars.
Or they just feel like they're better than the rest of us, and they don't have to tell us where they're going. We should just know.
Well,
Psychically.
I wondered if maybe because some people refer to it, maybe coming from another state, they refer to it as the turn signal. So when they turn, they're going to use it, but not on changing lanes. It is not a changing lane signal. It's a signal to let other drivers know what you're doing. But like I said, there might be other states that refer to it as a turn signal. So if they're not turning, there's no signal. It's just really interesting. And I remember when we first moved out here 22 years ago, and I was driving to work every day, and I told my boss, I said, these people are crazy out here. I have to keep pulling back and pulling back. He says, "Well, just pull back." And I said, if I pulled back for every bad driver out here, I would never make it here. Wouldn't get here.
And it's even worse now.
I know it is, because there's so many more people, and it's just interesting. And it seems to be men and women alike. I believe me, I check, because I like to believe that women don't do some of these things, but I'm wrong. I'm always wrong. I get it wrong.
And the thing is, if they do something really bad, like they really, literally, almost hit you, and you pull up alongside them at the stoplight, and you look over to see what kind of weirdo this is that did this, and they're just oblivious. They're just staring out the windshield.
Yeah.
No.
We've got a lot of people under the influence all day, all times of the day. That's a big issue. Wrong way drivers. I think normally they're either intoxicated or they're elderly that are on the wrong way on the freeway. I think we found Yeah, there's a lot of wrong way drivers. We have that going on. And red light runners. Oh, yeah. Now, honestly, I could say I haven't seen one for quite some time. I do have to laugh at, what was I, the red light. They had it on the news. There was a motorcyclist who was sitting at the light, and he had his little camera going, and you could see the light was green for him to go, and there were 5 or 6 cars that just ran right through on the red.
I would not drive a motorcycle in this.
Oh no, it's just
scary.
yeah, it is really scary, and we've lost quite a few. We've actually lost motorcycle cops, it's just craziness. But yeah, people under the influence and elderly, like I said, I swear they should have a time of day that the everybody goes out from 9 to 10 in the morning. That's it. They're done.
Well, and this older guy that I was talking to yesterday, he actually said he waits till like 10 o'clock before he goes to breakfast because he doesn't want to be out there with all the crazies.
Yeah.
Going to work. and
Going
all
to
that.
work. Yeah, they're in a hurry and they're trying to get there quick, and yeah, it's exhausting sometimes. My favorite is using the left turn lane as a merge lane. So they're making a left turn into the left turn lane and then waiting to merge over. Mm-hmm. It is not a merge lane. You can look that up. It's not. My little brother was with me. I'm so used to this. I'm driving along, and this big van comes pulling out into that left turn lane, and I mean just swerving into that left turn lane, just screaming into it. And he was convinced I thought he was going to jump out the car door. He was convinced he was going to just slam right over into us. And I said, no. He's illegal. He's using the left turn lane as a merge lane, and you're not supposed to do that.
Well, another thing they're not supposed to do is if there's no median,
Right.
Mm-hmm. And there's a left turn lane, they back up, they stack up in that middle lane to turn left, and that is so illegal.
I know. The only time that they're really going to be issued anything is if they cause an accident because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Or if the cop is in a bad mood.
And they're never around anyway, so we don't really worry about it too much. But yeah, but it is true. It gets really messy, and those the easements that we have for some of our corner issues are really small. I mean, they're so close to the light. They're so in there. My favorite, there is a law which one of my friends got dinged for. Apparently, Minnesota has something called Minnesota Nice. They let people in on the freeway, and they back off, and they just allow people to merge in, and you can't do that out here. It's actually illegal to impersonate a cop and direct traffic. If you have 3 or 4 lanes and there's somebody wanting to pull out, and you're counting on them to just make that one turn just right into the right lane because you're in the right lane, and you're waiting for them, and you're like, I'm going to be nice.
And they go in the next lane over and get hit. You are liable.
Yes,
yeah.
and you are. You're considered impersonating a cop, and I think it's maybe it's just $35. I don't remember, but you cannot control the traffic next to you and next to them, and so you're not doing anybody any favors by letting them in. The faster you can get out of the way and move when the light changes so that they can get room to get out, that's the best thing that you can do. Otherwise, I think for me, when somebody does wait for me, I'll just get in the right lane and go out of my way a mile to do my turn or whatever. But heaven forbid, for mostly men, can't do that. They can't, they're not going to share the road.
In my younger life, I used to have a bit of a lead foot. So I used to have to go to traffic school like every 2 years. And well, one of the things that irritated me the most was one time in traffic school, our instructor, who's supposed to know the laws and everything, says, when you're on the freeway, if you're going the speed limit, you should never be in the left lane, the fast lane. And people in the class were like, but if we're doing the speed limit, we're doing the maximum allowed rate of speed. And she's like, well, yes, technically, but all the speeders will be in that lane, and you could be cited for obstructing the flow of traffic. So it's like, let me get this straight. So they're breaking the law by speeding, and yet you would be the one in the wrong for doing the speed limit.
My favorite was my girlfriend saying, well, don't you use the fast lane? There is no fast lane. There should be no fast lane. There are passing lanes, but there should be no fast lane.
One time when I still worked in Phoenix, I was trying to get on the freeway, merge into traffic, and no one would let me in.
Right.
So
That's
I'm
the thing
traveling
here.
along, creeping along, and I got pulled over because I didn't merge.
Oh my
and I'm like,
goodness.
how could I have merged? No one would let me in, but did that matter?
No. Oh my
I
goodness.
got a ticket.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I did not know that could happen.
Yeah,
Wow.
I didn't either until it happened.
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite ticket was, I think I was in a construction zone in Scottsdale. Where's Scottsdale? And I was in a construction zone. It was very early in the morning. There was no construction there at that time, but there were flags and everything. And obviously the people who were driving, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. Everybody was going to work. A lot of these people lived there. They knew what they could do on this road, regardless of the cones and everything else that was telling them to go slower. And so I was going 36 in a 25. And he dinged me, but not before the car in front of me wiped out right in front of the cop car because he was going too fast. And so he slammed on the brakes. There was dust flying everywhere. He swerved off to the side slightly, but he didn't ding him. He didn't catch him. He caught me going 1 mile. It's like, really? My first and only ticket in my life, and it can't be for going 125 in like a 75 zone or something like that. No, it's 36.
Well, be glad because
That's
you
embarrassing.
didn't have to pay as much.
No, that's true, but no, it's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. I thought that cop should have been embarrassed when he pulled me over and realized it's this chick, and it's like, oh, okay. Okay, well, if they're there, if the workers are there, we need to abide by this and we need to protect them. And I'm thinking,
But they're not there.
they're not there. Oh, so it's hard to say what some of these people think and how they're feeling about it. My other personal pet peeve is the turning into different lanes. If you read the book, the driving manual, it will tell you that you turn to your closest lane. So it's right to right and left to left, essentially, is what it is. And not in this town. And I watch people. They grab that right lane. First of all, they hold up all the traffic waiting to get in that lane because there's right turners going into the right lane like they're supposed to. And this left turner is determined to get in that right lane. And I watch them because I'm thinking, okay, maybe you're trying to get into this stupid gas station right here on the corner. Never. They are going for miles in that right lane.
And that's another thing that in my vast experience in traffic school, they said, say you are trying to get into that gas station and you're turning left and you have to get into that right lane to get into that gas station. You're supposed to turn into the left lane. Too bad.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah.
And
It
it's
is.
like, well,
It is.
that sucks.
That's to
but-
keep traffic moving, quickly. I will have to say that I will take a lane if there's nobody else there. If
Yeah.
there's no one there, then I'll go ahead
Oh
and
yeah,
take a lane.
I don't cut people off.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing.
Oh no.
When you're making a left turn, and people are turning right at the same time, and you're waiting like you're supposed to. There are some people who go ahead and they turn into that left lane, like you're supposed to. But to me, it's dangerous because those people who are turning right, they could whip all the way over to
Oh
the
yeah, they
left
can
lane,
do that
and
too.
they
Yeah, they do. They do.
So you're
They want
taking
that
your
lane.
life in your hands, even though technically you're allowed to do that. but-
Yeah. Technically, you don't do. I mean, if you caused an accident, they would cite you for having moved over that lane.
Unsafe lane change or something.
Yeah. It's just wrong on so many levels. It's just wrong. My favorite was I'm sure they had to be impaired or mentally ill. I'm not sure what it was in the driving situation. So I'm in a left lane coming, and I have a left turn lane here next to me. I can see this little diving thing here going on. And so I'm going straight. And but we're back a little ways, and this left turner gets up there and is waiting to turn left. The light changes. I'm still approaching. And there's another left turner across from our, facing us. And they make a left turn and a right into my lane, coming right at me. And I'm like, really? This is what we're doing. And then they signaled and moved. Well, they didn't even signal. They just swerved right in behind that left turner, realizing that they were probably in the incorrect lane, like oncoming traffic lane. So those are some of my personal favorites. I've seen quite a bit of that around here, and I don't know. It's almost like, okay, I changed my mind, so I'm going to do it this way. I don't know. I don't understand.
Well, my personal most recent favorite was a couple of years ago. Well, it was last year. Yeah, last April. I just got my car out of the shop, and I'm turning left, and I'm looking to the left, and I'm looking to the right, and it's free to go. So I start turning. There's this woman in the gas station across the street. She is turning left, and she's looking to her right while she's turning. And she slammed right into the front end of my car. I couldn't find the dang horn because now that we have these stupid airbags, it's not in the middle anymore. So I'm like trying to find the dang horn. I never did find it until it was too late, and she hit me. And
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, go ahead. One more.
Jaguar she was driving, no insurance. So I got stuck. There's nothing I could do.
Well, we were.
I could have taken her to court, but one of two things would have happened. Either first off, the judge would have said, "How dare you sue this poor old lady?" Because she was like, 80s or something like that. And like, how dare you sue this poor old lady, Or the second thing that could happen, I could win, but then you've got to collect the judgment, and you can't collect on somebody who has no money.
Yeah, really.
So I would have just wasted money going to court.
Well,
So I just
they could have gotten her off the road, or she could have
Well.
settled out with you if you had.
She
told her.
wouldn't have settled.
Yeah.
Because I called her and I asked her for one third of what it cost me to
It's
get
a
it
one and a
repaired.
three.
Yeah, 1/3 of what it cost me to get the car repaired. And she said, "Well, I didn't have any money. Yeah, sue me then." And hung
Sell
up
your
on-
car.
Yeah, I know. That was my thought, but I was like, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to let her come up with that. So, and she hung up on me. Well, the first couple times I called her, she acted like she was going to work with me and try and help me out there. And then the last time I called her, she snapped at me like that and hung up on me. And so I called her back. Of course, she didn't pick up. And I left a message. I said, I've been nothing but nice to you ever since this happened. It was clearly your fault. It's on camera. Because my mechanics shop's cameras were pointed that way. They got the whole thing on camera. You got cited, and if you can live with yourself for doing this and not helping me out, then that's on you.
We're too nice. We are too nice. We really
Well,
are.
But I always figured,
Yeah.
God'll get her.
Yeah, well, absolutely, yes. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. It's not yours. So, moving right along. Yeah.
So that was my personal story.
Yeah, no, it is really difficult. I know we were hit by a drunk driver 20 years ago, and somebody from Mexico who did not speak any English, was not his car, the car does not have insurance, totaled ours. And we were told by prosecuting attorney, she said, just so you know, it is legal to drive drunk in Mexico until you hit someone. So we can't keep these guys off the road. And why would that happen? Because our laws are different. You come to this country and our laws are what our laws are. I mean, what's the big deal?
If you went down to Mexico and did something that was against their law but legal here, they would throw you in the
Yeah. I mean, it
silent.
only stands to reason. I mean, if you're going to be American then, and follow the lay of the land. I know that my girlfriend was killed by a drunk driver in Minnesota, and her and one other accident within a week of each other were the beginning of Mothers Against Drunk Driving in Minnesota, and it has always stayed with me. And it just, I mean, that just is maddening that they wouldn't even, think about that, or somebody let him get into his friend's car and drive, but apparently that's legal for them, so they don't think about that as being a problem, and it became a problem. That I really have a hard time with that. I really have a hard time that we can't see eye to eye on these things. So Arizona is full of that kind of stuff because again, people are coming from other states. They have other ideas of how things are done. Most of them probably grew up on a farm. learn how to drive in a field. My mother did, so she drove like that. Yes, she did. She drove like she was in a field instead of on streets.
Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of Californians are coming over here, and their
That's true.
traffic is.
There's a lot of them coming over. You know, it's amazing. I've been watching the California license plates that are here, and they actually aren't going as fast as they used to.
Really?
I don't get that. And they're small cars, you know, so they're not. And yeah, they're really. I'm freaking out. I really am. They're actually kind of Minnesota nice. They're backing me off, and I'm like, you are a California plate. Who are you? Yeah, it's very unusual. I'll give them credit for that. But normally, yeah, they were really fast and moving, and they're used to that. So, but I think we've said all we can say today about traffic. And
If you have any interesting stories of things that have happened to you, we'd love to hear them.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
please say so in the comments.
yeah, and if you have any other subjects that you'd like to hear us go on about,
Let us know.
let us know.
And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Yep, absolutely.
Make sure you like us too.
Yes.
Because we like you. Sorry.
It's okay. Bye for now.